Good evening and welcome to Gana Shot. Good evening. मैं आपको 3 दिन के बाद मिल रहा हूँ. Actually, yesterday I was in Manekshaw Center on Klaus ka seminar. I was addressing and participating whole day on how technology empowers the soldier. Very interesting talk. The Chief of Army Staff was there. The Deputy Chief of Army Staff was there, plus a whole lot of people. And the interesting part is that a lot of things were spoken. For the first time, Indian Army spoke about technology in an open forum, the way I saw it after a long time. And maybe sometime next week, I'm going to play all those sessions for all of you so that we all benefit. कि इंडियन आर्मी के अंदर सोच क्या है टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में, ये हम आपके पास लेके आएंगे. And I must thank General Dushan for it. Okay, having said that, today I thought we must talk of the great Chinese rope trick. Yeah, this is what Rohit says. You saw an update from MOD on clause seminar on tech absorption for our soldiers. I'll put out all the proceedings. I'll put out in clips next week, one by one. You can have a look as to see what's happened there actually. Okay, the great Chinese rope trick. What is this great Chinese rope trick? हमने सब सुना है कि इंडियन रोप ट्रिक है, और पुराने जमाने में बोलते थे भाई बीन बजाओ सपेरा आएगा और फिर वो रस्सा ऊपर खड़ा होगा सब सांप की तरह. तो यहाँ तो जी जिनपिंग कर रहा है. और ये आइडिया मेरे को कहाँ से आया? मैंने कहा यार ये जो कुछ दिन पहले इनका जीडीपी का फिगर्स निकले थे, और उस जीडीपी के फिगर्स में बोल रहा था कि 5.3% जीडीपी बढ़ गया फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. मैंने कहा भैया बहुत अच्छा है, पर चाइना तो बदल गया. हमने तो फिर बिल्कुल गलत अंदेशा लगाया चाइना के बारे में. Then I looked in, I dug, I took my time, and then I'm going to tell you something, right? That's when I said, ये तो चाइनीज रोप ट्रिक है. ये जीडीपी जा रहा है, बाकी सब नीचे आ रहा है. जैसे यहाँ है ना, बाकी पत्ते नीचे गिर रहे हैं, बंदा ऊपर चढ़ रहा है. रस्सा कहाँ जा रहा है ये नहीं पता, रस्सा कहाँ गड़ा हुआ ये भी नहीं पता है. तो जी जिनपिंग हाथ हिला रहा है ऐसे. Okay, let's get on to it. I got this feedback from someone. He says, fine discussion. I still wonder why this channel didn't touch a million mark. Well, million mark तो छोड़ो, पहले 1 लाख तो पहुंचे. तो मेरा hopefully in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months it can reach 1 lakh if all of you subscribe to it. Otherwise, how can I do it? I'm not I'm not a magician. ना मेरे पास कोई रोप ट्रिक है कि मैं बता दूं कि भाई आज 30,000 है और कल 1 लाख बन जाएगा. नहीं होगा. और मैं उन आदमी में से भी नहीं हूं कि पे करके मेरा व्यूअरशिप बढ़ाऊं या पे करके. है बहुत लोग आए मेरे पास कि सर हमें इतना पैसा दीजिए, आपका व्यूअरशिप भी बढ़ जाएगा, आपका सब्सक्रिप्शन बेस भी बढ़ जाएगा. बट फौजी हूं, क्या करें. हाँ, नियत है अपना, और हमारा जो संस्कार है फौजी संस्कार, भारतीय संस्कार जो हम बोलते हैं, उससे मैं परे हट नहीं सकता. राइट, सो दैट्स हाउ इट इज. बट देन विल गेट बैक टू द चाइनीज रोप ट्रिक. ये जो आइडिया मेरे पास आया था, एक्चुअली इट set me thinking when this headline जब मैंने देखा था. It says Uday Kotak's warning, brace for global turbulence. ये तो ठीक है, but China imploding. Why will a banker like Uday Kotak say China imploding? वो नॉर्मली ऐसे पॉलिटिकल बात तो करता नहीं है, एंड ही इज माना हुआ बैंकर है ये, राइट. So if he says China is imploding, there's some problem in China. Okay, वो भी एक बैंकर है. So I said, okay, let me see. And then, of course, this headline. I mean, I must tell you, बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि सर वेस्टर्न मीडिया ये बोलता है, you know, you follow the Western media and all. People still feel that I follow the Western media. Today, complete hereafter, all my headlines, all my sources are from China. One. Number two, I show these headlines because to make it fact based. मैं तुक्का नहीं मार रहा हूँ. वो क्या बोल रहे हैं वो आपको बताऊंगा, and that's my analysis. Uh, right. So it's not Western. It's not my opinion. It's facts. So that's how it is. He says China GDP bet growth expectations. So why are analysts and business groups still downbeat? Why? And this is within. They're not happy with it internally. अरे यार वो खुश नहीं है तो हम कैसे खुश होंगे उनका जीडीपी के बारे में? ये बड़ा सोच की बात है। और अगर वही खुश नहीं है उनका जीडीपी के बारे में, हम क्या सोच रहे हैं कि यार इनका जीडीपी बढ़ गया? ओके, बढ़ गया होगा क्योंकि चाइना है। अगर कल के दिन जी जिनपिंग उठ के बोलेगा कि 5.5% जीडीपी बढ़ना है तो बढ़ेगा, उसमें क्या है? अगर कल वो सोचेगा कि सिर्फ 4% बढ़ेगा तो सिर्फ 4% बढ़ेगा। असलियत किसको पता है? ओके, बट अगर जो भी ऑफिशियली उन्होंने आउट किया है और उन्हीं के आंकड़ों से अगर आप इफ यू एनालाइज, फिर एक असलियत निकल आता है। वो असलियत हमें परखना चाहिए और उस असलियत के ऊपर हमें ध्यान देना चाहिए, और उसी असलियत को मैं आपके सामने यहाँ पेश करूंगा। लुक एट दिस जीडीपी ग्रोथ, राइट? एंड दिस इज द यू नो ग्राफ। ये जो ग्राफ है, दिस इज फ्रॉम चाइना स्टैटिस्टिक्स ब्यूरो। अगेन, ये मेरा ग्राफ नहीं है। ओके, दिस इज वेरी फाइन, इट्स गॉन पास 5.3. But what does South China Morning Post say? It says China GDP first quarter growth smashes expectations, but has Beijing put too many eggs in its basket? एक ही, they might have put too many eggs in the same basket. कौन सा basket है? It's investment and manufacturing. So we'll get back to that a little later. We'll see what's the story so far. Okay. Right. Look at this. It says 5 takeaways from March data as export tumbled. So the first thing is, in March, your GDP went up and your exports tumbled. That's interesting. Look at this. Exports have gone down. Trade has gone down. January, February, they okay. March, they have gone down drastically. पूरे बिल्कुल नीचे गिर गया है एक्सपोर्ट। और देखिए नीचे, सोर्स चाइना कस्टम्स, क्रिएटेड विद डेटा रैपर। ये डेटा रैपर उन्हीं का सोर्स है। तो ये मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूं, ये खुद वो बोल रहे हैं। ठीक है, सो जब वो खुद बोल रहे हैं उनका एक्सपोर्ट गिर गया, सो ये हटो, उसको देखना पड़ेगा ना। देखो, देख नेक्स्ट, China's trade surplus stood at 58.6 billion in March, compared with 125.1 billion in the first 2 months of the year. January, February में इनका ट्रेड सरप्लस, चाइना स्टिल गॉट अ ट्रेड सरप्लस, इसीलिए हम चाइना को नजरअंदाज नहीं कर सकते। चाइना गिर रहा है वो अलग है, पर वो लगेगा 10-15 साल स्लो कोलैप्स होने में, पर तब तक तो है ना, भैंस की तरह, राइट? तो जनवरी फरवरी में इसका ट्रेड सरप्लस वाज 125.1 बिलियन। इसका मतलब एक महीने में तकरीबन 60-65 बिलियन, पर मार्च में कम हो गया। तो धीरे धीरे इसका ट्रेड सरप्लस भी कम हो रहा है। ट्रेड सरप्लस कम हो रहा है, एक्सपोर्ट कम हो रहा है, इसका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और एक्सपोर्ट इसका मुद्दा है और मेन थ्रस्ट है। देन हाउ इज जीडीपी गोइंग अप? वेरी फनी। ओके, right? That followed by this, as world erects barriers against China, वो तो छोड़ो यार, बट वो खुद बोल रहा है कि वर्ल्ड हैज erected barriers against China's exports. So where does it leave you? So they have problems in exporting. So there's a thread जो डेवलप हो रहा है इसमें कि उनके exports are really going down. Okay, what's happening in the banks and what's happening in their interest rates? Banks withdraw some long-term fixed income products. ब्याज दर घट गए. अगर आप लॉन्ग टर्म पैसा रखना चाहते हो बैंक में, आपको कम पैसा मिलेगा वापस. इंडिया में तो उल्टा हो रहा है, वो अलग बात है. ठीक है, ये जापान में 30 साल पहले हुआ था. जापान में अभी भी अगर आप पैसा बैंक में रखना चाहते हो, बैंक को आप पैसा दोगे कि भाई मेरा पैसा रख लो, धीरे 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 चाइना उस ओर सरक रहा है. ओके, इट्स का डिपॉजिट रेट टू बूस्ट मार्जिन. बड़ा सिंपल है. लोग अगर बैंक में पैसा रख रहे हैं तो उनको डिपॉजिट इंटरेस्ट कम दो, ताकि वो निकाल के वो पैसा खर्च कर सकते हैं. और या खर्च करें, फोर्सिंग कि अगर आप इधर पैसा रखोगे तो आपको ब्याज कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, पर वो हो नहीं रहा. लगातार ये डिपॉजिट रेट कट हो रहे हैं. ओके, फिर बॉन्ड डिफॉल्ट्स, ये खुद बोल रहे हैं कि बहुत फर्म्स हैं चाइना के अंदर जो बॉन्ड डिफॉल्ट में चल रहे हैं. उन्होंने बॉन्ड पैसा उठा लिया मार्केट से, बॉन्ड दे दिया और डिफॉल्ट हो रहा है. क्यों? डिफॉल्ट का मतलब क्या है? जो कूपन रेट होता है उसके ऊपर जो पैसा देना है वो नहीं दे रहे. ओके, क्यों? स्लो ग्रोथ, टाइटर स्टेट पॉलिसीज. तो जी जिनपिंग ने पेचकस घुमा दिया, सब कष्ट में है. सो दिस द थर्ड वेव. 2 बार तो हो गया. तो लोग चाइना के अंदर इनका जो पैसा लगा हुआ है वो तो वैसे जा रहा है, मतलब गायब हो रहा है. तो इट्स कमिंग टू अ स्टेज वेयर जो चाइनीज जो है, मैं जो आ खास करके बता के आ रहा हूं कितने दिन से, कि आम चाइनीज इज बिकमिंग पोरर. उसके पास पैसा नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. धीरे धीरे उसका कट हो रहा है, क्योंकि प्रॉपर्टी में वैसे भी डाउन है, बैंक में भी डाउन है. वो करे तो क्या करे? अभी सोना वो खरीदने के चक्कर में, राइट? गोल्ड मार्केट्स अंडर स्ट्रेन as horde of new buyers hunt for stable investment. देखो, जब भी किसी देश में सोना खरीदा जाता है इस तरीके से, जिस तरीके से चाइना के अंदर खरीदा जा रहा है, वो एक संकेत है कि उस देश में स्थिति ठीक नहीं है. एक जमाना था इंडिया में, ये बोलते थे कि भाई सोना रख लो, राइट? सोना रखो, स्टॉक्स में कोई पैसा नहीं देता, डालता था. सब क्या है कि फ्लैट खरीदते थे, गोल्ड खरीदते थे, सोना खरीदते थे. धीरे 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 फ्लैट का वैल्यू उतना नहीं है. लोग इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं फ्लैट्स में, कुछ करते हैं बट उतना नहीं. और लोग सोना कम खरीदते हैं आजकल, और ज्यादा फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स और आपका म्यूचुअल फंड उसमें डालते हैं. पर चाइना में उल्टा हो रहा है. ये तो बोला जा रहा था कि एक स्टेबलाइज्ड मार्केट है, ये evolved market है, but this is the real status. Then you see, this is from Caxin Global. China stock market hits brokers pay packets. क्यों? ये जितने ब्रोकर हैं उनको पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है. Again, this is Caxin Global. They're absolutely clear. And ये Caxin Global और Yikai Global दोनों इनका इकोनॉमिक पोर्टल्स हैं चाइना के, वो बता रहे हैं कि क्या हो रहा है अंदर. सो ये भी है. ओके, इनके जो $1 million jobs, travel perks, and racy parties vanish as China's research pullback sends chill through banks and brokers. दोनों, बैंकिंग सेक्टर और फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर, इनका फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में मातम छाया हुआ है आजकल. ठीक है, पैसा कट रहा है, इनका वेतन कट रहा है, ये इनके जितने हैं पर्क्स वगैरह मिल रहे हैं वो सब कट। पहले पहले ये घूमते थे चार्टर्ड फ्लाइट्स में दुनिया सब कुछ, और सब इनके पास आते थे, भाई हमारा पैसा ले लो ये वगैरह वगैरह। अगर कुछ किताब पढ़ोगे इनका लाइफस्टाइल क्या है, हैरान हो जाओगे। बट ये सब जी जिनपिंग कट कर रहा है। वो किस लिए कट कर रहा है? दो वजह हो सकता है। एक तो इनको लाइन में ले आओ ताकि एवरीवन फॉलोज द कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी रूल, दैट्स वन वे ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स। द अदर वे ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स इज there's no money in the market, as simple as that. Both, I feel it's both are happening. There's no money in the market, things are bad. If stocks are going on, who will give them jobs, $1 million jobs? And Xi Jinping anyway डंडा लेके घूम रहा है। वो ये देखो डंडा तो आ गया। Chinese insurers ex chairman disappears from public view sources से। वो पहले बैंक वालों को अंदर कर दिया, अभी इंश्योरेंस वालों को भी अंदर कर रहा है। वो तो डंडा लेके घूम रहा है। जिसके पास पैसा है वो उसको कहीं ना कुछ करो और अंदर कर दो। So that's also happening. And then Fitch cuts outlook for China's state-owned banks from stable to negative, citing Beijing's limited capacity to support them. So there is a financial crisis in China. And this comes from what their own portals tell you. It's not from what I say. Uh, people say, "Oh yeah, you're just getting South China Morning Post. What's so special about South China Morning Post?" People say, "Oh, it's something which is put in Hong Kong." But let me tell you, why do you read a newspaper? When you read the newspaper, you come to know what's happening in your country. Same thing, I'm reading the Chinese newspaper, right? He's just telling what's happening in his country. And if you think South China Morning Post has got freedom to print what it wants, it doesn't have. If you look at it, I've only put selected articles here. If you look at it in great detail, there's a lot of propaganda which is coming out of South China Morning Post. Their analysis is very clear, Communist Party. Their major opinion makers are communist people. Okay, right. Then supply chain shift away from China. Others get their own economic miracles. What is he's talking of Vietnam, India, Malaysia. Supply chains are going away. Like already people, the number of Apple phones being made in India and sold out are increasing. Okay, and all these Chinese are running to Mexico, and when they run to Mexico, they are trying to beat NAFTA, use NAFTA. Okay, let me spend a minute on this. What is NAFTA? North American Free Trade Agreement. इससे क्या है? Anything can move from Mexico to USA and USA to Mexico, and also Canada. Okay, in terms of trade. So what are the Chinese trying to do? Go and set up a factory in Mexico. From Mexico, export to America. Okay, but Americans are know what is happening. They're going to do what they have to do. That's a different story. Well, I'll cover that a little later. Okay, let things pass a little. Next month, maybe I'll cover that in detail. I already have the masala for it, but I'll cover it later. So, this is what's actually happening, right? The interesting thing in this is what? Why is China going to USA for selling? सोचा, क्योंकि USA is the only country which can sell what China produces. मार्केट वहां है। चाइना का दुविधा देखो, उन्होंने उसका अपना मार्केट के साथ लड़ाई कर लिया। बेवकूफ आदमी है। अब वो फोर्स कर रहे हैं चाइना यूएसए को खरीदने के लिए किसी ना किसी तरीके से। आई विल कम टू दैट ऑल्सो, वो भी कहानी मैं अब बताता हूँ। ओके, दिस इज एप्पल सीईओ. Apple is not only setting up factories in India, he's gone to Vietnam also. Vietnam इससे पहले ही चला गया. Supply chain shifting, that's the next part. Then you see This is also their worry why India could soon dethrone China as world's top consumer market. प्रॉब्लम है उनको. डिथ्रोन चाइना तो बहुत पहले हो गया बिकॉज हमारा कंजम्पशन ज्यादा है उनके बनस्पत एज शेयर ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. उनका इकोनॉमी बड़ा है, इसमें डाउट नहीं है. सो दर कंजम्पशन इज बाय वॉल्यूम्स मोर देन आवर्स, राइट. इसमें भी डाउट नहीं है. बट अस इज कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन इकोनॉमी. और जैसे जैसे हमारा इकोनॉमी बढ़ता जाएगा, ये कंजम्पशन बढ़ भी हमारा बढ़ता जाएगा, आंकड़े बढ़ेंगे. The overall figures and will keep increasing as your economy grows. And you sustain yourself. Whereas in China, it's not so. China soon will have to get sustained if you consume or America consumes or Europe. Europe में तो recession हो रहा है, right? Europe is under recession. If Europe is under recession, who will buy from China? That's the problem. Okay, from consumption to tourism, China's middle class holds the key to revving up economic engine. But can they turn it? I did a episode on the China's middle class called the vanishing middle class or something like that. The middle class is shrinking in China. And in any economy, it's the middle class which pushes the economy up. If your middle class increases, your economy starts doing well. And in China, that's shrinking. Unless the middle class consumes, they can't. Things won't go. And the problem in China is the middle class is shrinking for only one reason: low wages, no jobs, low wages, pay cuts. If all these three are happening, how will consumption take place? If all this happens over a sustained period of time, the middle class will start shrinking. Poverty will start reappearing in China. My guess is it's already there. They're not telling out. I mean, look, China is China. You will not get full. You have to infer. So all those people who say, "Oh, China is still going to be a superpower," all the best. Look at this. This is the unemployment graph. I put two circles on it. Interesting graph. This is the youth unemployment rate. In 2020, in the COVID period, the youth unemployment fell sharply because most of the factories वगैरह close हो गए थे. Okay, that's what they say, and they doctored the figures. Then they never allowed the unemployment figures to go up. But you can't hide reality. It started going up. Last year, it reached 20 to 23%. And the actual figures they said was around 25-26%. And then they withdrew the figures. They withdrew the statistic. 3 महीने उन्होंने दिखाए नहीं सबको कि क्या है unemployment. And then they showed it. Again, it started going up. So they've doctored it twice. Okay? They've doctored it twice. You look at it in 2019, how unemployment has shot up. That's the year when COVID actually took place. Then they've doctored it twice. And after doctoring it twice, it is still hitting 15% unemployment. And every year, more young people are getting into colleges and getting out of colleges, or joining the workforce, or joining the absent workforce or non-workforce, जो भी है, unemployed workforce. And this is something which doesn't come out. If you look at the graph just like that, oh, you feel, oh, yeah, it's only so much. But you examine it over a period of time. Again, this is not my data. And this graph is from whom? National Bureau of Statistics of China, created with data wrapper. Completely Chinese document. So when people say, you know, चाइना छुपा के रखता है वगैरह, चाइना छुपाने की कोशिश करता है। अगर आप सही दिशा में देखोगे, उन्हीं के आंकड़ों से आपको पता चल जाता है कि वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं और एक्चुअल स्थिति क्या है वो नजर आता है। Okay, you look at their unemployment rate again. Same, it follows the same thing. This is the overall general unemployment rate. Once it's fallen, again it's gone up. Again it's fallen, again it's going up. वो रुक नहीं रहा इनका unemployment rate. ये they are changing the figures, but it's still going up. They can't help it. Okay, what the retail sales? See how it has dropped. Okay, yeah, I mean this is a 24, it's just dropping. There's no retail sales. This is again National Bureau of Statistics. This is not my, okay. Home prices, they're still down. वो तो recover हो ही नहीं सकता. Property is a millstone around China's neck. There's no revival plan. Okay, that won't go anywhere. ये देखो, China property, Beijing needs 2.1 trillion, 2.1 trillion US dollars. Not a small joke. 1/8 of its economy just to revive this sector. Just to revive it needs $2.1 trillion. कहाँ से लेके आएगा ये? तो that's also gone. So how is this GDP going up? This is again a very, very, very interesting thing. You look at their inflation. Inflation rate is going down. Look at it in 24. Went down, negative, come up, again going down. Whenever it goes up, it has gone up artificially. It's gone down. What does he say? Disappointing price indicators cast shadow on target. Fuel calls for swift policy easing. And that's not happening. Xi Jinping is not giving any policy easing. He is not giving any stimulus package. So, but then the risk is this: how can China remedy deflation risks without ditching long held economic strategy? Xi Jinping wants to convert this into a complete communist state, and that's where it is heading. And that is the danger for us. I mean, okay, so what if China becomes a communist state, and what if it becomes poorer or richer, whatever it is? How does it affect us? That's a larger question. Why are we doing all this? And that I'll give you an answer tomorrow. There's a Cold War happening. I'll just speak to General Hasnain because he's put out an interesting article. If he's prepared to do a thing tomorrow, I'll get him. Otherwise, we'll talk of India China Cold War. Right? Okay. Birth rate is continuing to fall. There's no let up. There are no births. What does this man say? Xi Jinping hypes up obstacle crushing economic reforms as expectations for third plenum reach fever pitch. This is important. He said, I'll make China into a financial superpower, new productive forces, all that. I have, उसके बारे में मैंने वीडियो भी किया था. But he's not held this third plenum. What is third plenum? You have to understand. इनका एक plenum होता है. What is a plenum? It is a major seminar. साल में एक या दो सेमिनार होते हैं. इनके टोटल 7 प्लेनम होते हैं 5 साल के अंदर. So it could be 1 or 2. And in that plenum, major policies are debated and put out. The third plenum is about economics. ये जो होना था ये अक्टूबर में होना था, अभी तक हुआ ही नहीं. 6 महीना हो गया, इसने टाल दिया, कहता मैं लूंगा ही नहीं. क्यों नहीं लेना? क्योंकि जो थर्ड प्लेनम है उसमें बहुत लोगों को बुलाना पड़ता है, सबको बताना पड़ता है कि भाई हमारा तो सब कुछ हो रहा है, और ढोल बजाओ, बीन बजाओ, कुछ जो भी बजाना है बजाओ, एंड एवरीथिंग इज फाइन. बट ही इज नॉट एबल टू डू इट. because if he gives a fix for the Chinese economy, he has to admit that the Chinese economy is in a bad shape. If he admits that the Chinese economy is in a bad shape, there's a good chance that the fix he gives might be seen as weak. So, what is his response? Don't hold the plenum. Like the figures of unemployment for 3 months, it was not held, it was not given out. Same thing here. For 6 months, he's not held it. He might not hold it also. So that means economy is not his focus. There's serious issues in this. Economy is not Mr. Xi Jinping's focus. His focus is security, military, diplomacy, technology. His focus is something else. The question then comes is, are we going on the wrong route? Are we looking at the wrong China? That's what comes to my mind when I do such sessions. And then I say, look, you need to follow the money. You follow the money trail और असलियत पता चल जाएगा. You can't take your fingers off the money. Though Xi Jinping says money is not important, economy is not important, वगैरह वगैरह, he's still trying to make China into a economic superpower, a financial superpower. He said that. So somewhere the money will count. Somewhere when people become poorer, they will start talking. As it is, there are a lot of people who are going away, running away, and they're trying to enter USA. Problem. What are these three new drivers of growth? Technology, firstly, overall. Energy, clean energy technology, electric vehicles, and batteries. As per them, are the three new drivers of growth. The old three are property, infrastructure, and processing trade. The problem with this hocus pocus, which China is saying, is very simple. The new three cannot substitute the old three. Property, infrastructure, and trade constituted more than 50% of China's economy. You can't export so many electronic vehicles, or electric vehicles, batteries, and solar panels to the world. We'll come to that. Look at this Washington Post. He says China already manufactures too much. Now it wants to make more. If you read this, they are manufacturing more than what is required for the whole world. And the whole world does not want to buy it from it. So you gone into investment, you invested, you given loans to manufacturing. There's a gung ho manufacturing going on in China. 3 months down the line, there'll be a glut because then no one will buy it. Right now, they're selling at rock bottom prices. State is subsidizing. State बोल रहा है कि भाई हम आपको पैसा दे रहे हैं, आप बनाओ, जिस कीमत में बेच सकते हो बेचो, फ्लड करो सबको, ताकि सब हमें हमारे से खरीदे. पर इसमें दो प्रॉब्लम है. एक, people are no more prepared to go back to China to buy everything. China is no more going to be the world's factory, is what everyone feels because of what COVID experience. Second, within China, in this article, he's given a few examples. Within China, there are a lot of people who are making solar panels, for example, and now they are competing to sell outside, and their margins are getting cut internally, and that business is becoming unviable. So when we look at it 3 months down the line, you'll get a different picture. I can predict it. Then you see what happens. अभी तो बोल दिया मैन्युफैक्चर करो, सबको खरीदवाओ, ये वो जाके बेचो. वो ऑलरेडी जर्मनी का ओलाफ शॉल्स गया था और बोल के भाई हम नहीं खरीदना चाहते आपसे. Okay, look at this anti-dumping policies. All which are in dark brown have taken anti-dumping measures. It includes South Africa, which is China's friend. It includes Chile, Argentina, sub USA, Canada, Mexico, India. They are all at the forefront of anti-dumping measures. Europe, even Russia has started investigation into complaints that we're going to get dumped. So the whole world virtually is now saying enough of China. बिकॉज अगर इसको अलाउ किया कि उसके सामान आप यहाँ आके डंप कर दे तो आपका कारोबार सब खत्म हो जाएगा. वैसे भी हमारा ट्रेड डेफिसिट ज्यादा है, हम क्यों खरीदें इससे. तो दैट इज स्टील. स्टील इज द बिग ट्रिक. ये देखो स्टील टैरिफ्स. यूएसए ट्रिपल्ड स्टील टैरिफ्स. So if you buy Chinese steel, you have to pay thrice the tariff, and they brought it at par with local. Okay, all metals, everything. So if China's production capability is not absorbed by the world or bought out by the world, no local consumption, what do you do with the goods? So China is creating goods, a surplus of goods. It created earlier a surplus of property which no one wants to sell or buy. It created a surplus of infrastructure which is no good to man or beast, no return of income. Now it is creating a surplus of goods which no one wants to buy. So let's see where it goes. Interesting days ahead. Okay, and they themselves say this. They say China's economy seeing seismic shifts and imbalances like nothing Beijing predicted. One of their senior economists says this. So they're in a very heavy state of imbalance. They have a problem. Many of us in India don't understand what's happening in China. Yeah. There's a Canton Fair which happens annually, where all manufacturers from China come and put their wares, और दुनिया से आते हैं और खरीदते हैं वहां से. डील्स होता है. It's supposed to be a big annual fair. Last year it was a flop. This year a lot of foreigners have gone to see EVs, solar panels. But other industry they're not touching. That's the problem. If you read in this article, they're going in for solar panels because it's cheap. They're going in for electric batteries and all, but no one is interested in anything else. Baki Kali. Okay? Then investment is not coming into China. China's campaign to win investment waivers as overseas capital plays waiting game. No one wants to put their money in China. They're all waiting. Okay, let's see. Foreign investment. Confidence push gathers speed as top officials highlight win-win cooperation or win-win opportunities. They कहते हैं आ जाओ. Win-win opportunity. Now everyone knows when China says win-win opportunity, it is win-win for China and lose-lose for you. So who'll put money? No one is putting money. There's a problem of extreme national security focus, which is a drag on business. And this is what US people say. The laws are completely against external business. Then, of course, I've spoken of this. Okay, this is a very interesting comment I got, and I want to read it out. And this is something which is a new facet of this. I've never, this man, whoever given that comment, must be good at economics. He says China never really had a functional economy. They just had an investment driven economy. And most of the investment decisions were taken by the CCP and not some business minded entrepreneur. So they did not care about return of investments. All they cared about is the GDP figures it could generate. Very correct. Then they also inflate it to make it even better. And voila, you have the modern China that everyone loves. This is completely unsustainable, and I do not see how they will be able to shift to domestic consumption led model with their authoritarian style. It seems impossible. The next decade will witness a lot of Chinese fireworks that take the dragon down slowly but steadily. I think it's a very, 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 very erudite comment, very clear comment as to where China is heading. Whoever it is, I don't know who he is, from where he's thing, but his clarity of thought on China is astounding to me. This is a great Chinese rope trick. And Xi Jinping हाथ हिला रहा है, वो बंदा ऊपर जा रहा है, उस रस्से का कोई पता नहीं है कहाँ जा रहा है, ऊपर कहाँ नीचे, where is it grounded, पत्ते सारे गिर रहे हैं. If you want to believe this rope trick, you can, but I think we'll be fools to believe it. Okay, this is another interesting thing which has come out. New force for China's PLA eyes modern warfare information support. What I'll do is, this is about the information support systems which they've come out with a new or reorganization. बहुत लोगों ने बोला इसके बारे में बात करो. I'll do it on the weekend, Sunday. Sunday I'll dedicate for this information support force, PLA strategic support force. इसके बारे में मैंने काफी uh, I I did a lot of analysis on that, and we'll talk of that on Sunday, and then any talk of PLA, right? So I finished today. At least I've enjoyed saying what I had to say because this is pending for a long time, uh, and I'll take some questions now, and I'll take all questions. There's a lot of time. It's only 40 minutes. सबका ले लूंगा. सबसे पहले, yeah, thanks a lot for this. So nice of you, right? Uh, Honored. But more importantly, I need more people to join Gunner Shot and as subscribers and as members, because then you're permanent. That's more important to me. Okay. Satpal Dahiya says, I think the originating place country for road trick is India, not China. I agree with you. यही तो बोला था मैंने. Okay. Yeah, one of the reasons that Tesla is coming to India is that sales of Tesla is greatly reduced in China due to BYD. Your views? Yes, it is happening because they have made a uneven playing field for anyone to invest. That's a problem, actually. Amitesh, what you have said is something very interesting. Anyone who now invests in China, we cannot recover the money. They are not allowing it to go out, so he has to be there. There's no choice. And they've stolen their technology over a period of time, and they've come up with their own stuff. And they're ensuring that their own people go for that and nothing else. And now that made it so cheap, it's being dumped outside also. So that's why Tesla will come to India. No doubt about it. Okay. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, I'll put out all those videos. There's no doubt. Akash, good evening. Jai Hind, right? And then Namaskaram. Okay. Recent fall in Kotak Mahindra share price linked to the statement of Uday Kotak that China is imploding. No, no, it is not. That is different. It's completely different. A fall in trade surplus can also be on account of exporting at lower cost by reducing profit margin. If yes, China can continue to hold on to its manufacturing base and rebound in future. Yeah, I agree, but there's a limit to how much it can do. Okay. And China is gold purchase spree to peg it against its currency as a part of its ambition to make UN global currency. Are they planning for dominance in the long term? Look, there are two ways of looking at it. China couldn't go to set up its own gold standard. That's not a problem. Okay, that's legal. But what is happening is the arm army buying gold. If I buy gold for my house, it's okay if I want jewelry. But if I'm buying to buy gold as an investment, then there's a different issue. That fact that China is doing this is something else. But will they get UN? Who'll trust China? See, any any standard or any global currency is a matter of trust. Okay, so yeah, that trust is not happening. We know Chinese are facing issues, but we're more or less able to harness demographic dividend. RBI said today we need to grow at 8 to 10% to harness it. How long before we reach it and challenge us? Look, we are not over the hill. We are still having a problem. But the thing is, we are on a rise. We are in a sweet spot. It will continue. Will we grow at 8 to 10%? I don't think we should. Because, like I said, the quality of growth is important than the quantity of growth. Because anything more than this, the quality of growth will suffer. Then we'll start cutting corners. Okay. What happened when we grew at 8, 10, 11% when Mr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister? All rotten things happened. Colgate, uh, all, scams, everything. Fake things, environmental problems. So we shouldn't grow too fast. Again, I tell you, I keep telling all of you, don't compete with China on GDP basis. Don't compete with China on money basis. See your quality of growth. Your competition, or you have to see with China from a security angle. Because he's looking at you from security and you're looking at it from for GDP. How foolish it is. We are understanding what's happening in China so that we can be security conscious against China, which is operating through China security and technology. Understand that. If you don't understand this, फिर तो बेवकूफी है. बार बार बोलते हो सर हमारा जीडीपी क्या क्या होगा, हमारा जीडीपी क्या होगा, ऊपर जाएगा, इसमें क्या है? हमारा जीडीपी चाइना से जीडीपी से कम क्यों है? यार कम हो या ज्यादा है वो उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. वो जीडीपी बड़ा बन गया. हो सकता है वो 10 ट्रिलियन हो या 13 ट्रिलियन हो या 17 ट्रिलियन, हमें क्या लेने देना है उससे? झूठ बोल रहा है, हमें पता है उतना जीडीपी है नहीं, वो अभी हमें पता है. पर रहने दो उसको. पर जो हमारे साथ वो कर रहा है साउथ चाइना सी के अंदर, सॉरी इंडियन ओशन के अंदर या हिमालयस के अंदर या और कहीं डंपिंग डुम्पिंग ये जो भी है, यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन दैट. ओके. चाइना इज या China is a supported and financed economy. The provider of credit line and the largest customer is the USA, who are running themselves the greatest, largest debt economy globally. Who will build the cat? No one will build the cat. China will get suffered, which will suffer. Okay, it is China which is going to suffer. There's no doubt about it. Tarun, Jai Hind, how are you? Good evening. Is it justifiable to compare China with India? We are not. That's what I said. We shouldn't compare. China is three times massive size in terms of land, economy. See, Saikat, I don't know whether you have a negative mentality or you keep asking such questions, right? I feel that you're pretty pessimistic about India. I would suggest you look differently, think differently. That's why I keep saying we don't compare ourselves with China. We don't compare ourselves with USA. We don't compare ourselves with Pakistan also. We compare with India. Today's India, yesterday's India, and tomorrow's India. We take care of our interests, and our interests are security against China. Ward it off. That's more important for me. Sometimes I feel the rulers are collecting monies by all means and have plans to flew away at the time of revolt like Pakistanis. Uh, are you talking of Chinese or Indian? That's a question. Indian hai to I don't think it will happen. Even China, it will not happen because the communists have no place to go. But many people in China, Chinese Communist Party, have already kept money out. They bought flats out in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Australia, and USA. But that's on. Is Z a one man force or he has his confidence? Arunachal, good question. There is a article in Foreign Affairs, right? Have a look. He says the delusion called peak China, the delusion of peak China, something like that. Read that. It very clearly tells you that he's finished off all his confidence, all his this thing. Now he's a one man show completely, and he tells how it has happened. He slowly, in China they had this system of having elders who used to question the ruler, whoever is in the party president, whoever it is. Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing this? X, Y, Z. This man has finished off all the elders. Now there are no elders because he himself is an elder at 71. So there are no elders to question him. There are no contemporaries to question him. There is no groups. For the past 10 years, he's had purges. There's no opposition left. Okay? All those who he felt were against the system, he's finished them off. He just threw the foreign minister and the defense minister overnight. No one is speaking about it in China. So he's a one man guy. I don't think he has any confidence. Yeah. Z is living in La La Land. Yeah, I agree with you. He's one of our best friends. Okay. The Chinese government runs a communist dictatorship form of the government and a capitalist economy. The target of his game is Chinese people. Yes, I agree with you completely. Chinese government provocation to publish map of Arunachal with names changed to Chinese. In reply, our channels made maps, which at most are funny attempt. Why our government doesn't reply back with maps? Our government is should not. It's not a matter of making maps alone. Uh, a government has to do many more things, but right now it's focused on elections. Okay, and if you see our elections, uh, I'm not again Bob. I'm not interested whether it's a Congress party or uh, BJP or Trinamool or whoever, whichever party. See the tone and tenor of the elections. जो मुद्दे इन्होंने उठाए हमारे जो राजनीतिक लोग हैं, कोई नेशनल मुद्दा नहीं है इसमें. हमारा बढ़ोतरी का मुद्दा नहीं है. उसके ऊपर कोई चर्चा नहीं हो रहा है. एक दूसरे को तू तू मैं ज्यादा चर्चा हो रहा है. एक बोल रहा है कि भाई तुम ये आएगा तो डिक्टेटर हो जाएगा, ये आएगा तो बोल रहा है कि आपका धन बेच देंगे. ये कोई चर्चा है? भाई आपके बगल में एक साइड में वो पाकिस्तानी बैठा है और दूसरे साइड में चीनी बैठा है सर पे. उनके साथ निपटने के लिए दोनों मेजर पार्टीज ने कुछ बताया आपको आज तक? उनका क्या प्लान है? एक तो बोलता आया है कि हमने ये किया वो किया वो किया, पर भाई आपके काल में ही तो वो आए थे अंदर और बैठे हैं अभी भी देपसांग और देमचौक में. तो उसके अगेंस्ट आप क्या करोगे कल के दिन? उसका क्या पॉलिसी है हमें नहीं पता. दूसरा तो बिल्कुल कुछ बोला ही नहीं. कम से कम इसने तो बोला कि भाई हमने ये किया वो किया वगैरह वगैरह. सो पॉलिटिकल क्लास इज वीक. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. Saurabh, good evening. Right, R-Rich. Yeah. General, if you are Chinese, then the administrative barriers to transfer money overseas, yeah, has exponentially increased. They make it difficult for transfer 50,000 K with Chinese is legally allowed. I agree with you, but how is money going abroad? The question is how is money going abroad? It's still going abroad. They're having some method of taking it. Because money is going, people are going. If you see the number of people who have gone from China to Mexico and gone via the southern border into USA is about 10, 15 times the previous years. So people are fleeing China. Money is outgoing. You go to USA, a lot of people from China who are come with hard cash to buy apartments. You see, you have to understand this in a different manner. In China, sorry, in USA, the interest rates are very high. People are not prepared to buy property because the interest rates are high. आम आदमी USA में कैसे खरीदता है? He goes to the bank and asks for a mortgage, and the mortgage is given. Today, people are not taking mortgages because the interests are very high. It's unsustainable for them. But still, property is selling. Rates are not coming down. Why? The Chinese are going with hard cash and buying things there. That's the thing. Pakistan has core commanders and their soldiers. What is China's cadre structure? I'll talk about PLA separately one day. It's almost the same. There's nothing different. Yeah. Namaskaram to you. Yeah. Yeah. South China Morning Post is owned by Jack Ma, who's under scrutiny and political coercion by Zittler's ZCP. Yeah. Look, everything which Jack Ma owned has been taken over by CCP. So don't think that South China Morning Post is owned by Jack Ma. And what Xi Jinping has proven is that no one's owned anything in China except the CCP. End of story. Okay. Right. So the NPA and PRC banks is officially 5%. Realistically, double that. I'm waiting for their banking sector to implode. Yeah, that's what I go with what Mr. Uday Kotak has said. Okay. The NPA in value in these cases are zero, unbuilt or unviable real estate, and there's no residual value on the book. I completely agree with you. They are sitting on, I don't know what. Okay. Yeah. Our current PM has problems with similar to Xi Jinping. He doesn't listen and believe in consultation. There are many policy examples to this fact. I agree with you. I have no doubt about it. He is right. When everyone says he's an authoritarian, there has to be some reality to it. But let me look at it a slightly different point of view. Uh, I'm not against him because to rule India, you need to have a strong hand. You need to have an authoritarian streak. India has done well against under authoritarian people, with under Indira Gandhi and now under Mr. Modi. Okay. And the thing with both of them, two, I'm talking comparing two authoritarian leaders. They are bound by democracy. That's the important thing. They have to 5 years, every 5 years, they have to go back to the people. And if the people vote for them or have voted for them and brought this authoritarian man in again as a PM, it's the people's choice. Look at it from that point of view. The difference between Mr. Modi and Mr. Xi Jinping is this, that Mr. Modi has to go back in front of the elections every 5 years and in state elections whenever. Again 5 years, but in between. Whereas Xi Jinping doesn't go in front of the public ever. With in front of Mr. Modi, there were farm laws which he enacted, which he had to withdraw because of protests. Correct or not is different. There's a democratic action which happened and a democratic response which happened. Don't look at the merits of the case. So democracy is still functioning in India. Whether Mr. Modi listens to people or not is one way of looking at it. Let me put it the other way around. People don't listen to Mr. Modi. And there are lobbies who are not prepared to move. There are no reforms. People don't allow reforms to happen. The bureaucracy. So what does he do? he becomes authoritative. Danda lagao. I can understand what he is trying, because I'm an authoritative guy being in the army. आर्मी में तो डंडा चलता है. This is not martial law कि भाई जाके बाहर डंडा चलाओ, but he is चलाओing his डंडा यार. So you have to understand these things in the right perspective. Okay, what's happening in India? Many people, when you go and आम आदमी से जब मैं बात करता हूँ, बोलते हैं सर इंडिया में ना मार्शल लॉ चाहिए, आर्मी रूल चाहिए. आर्मी रूल से इंडिया बिगड़ जाएगा. But if you have a strong leader, let him do. There will be something negative, there will be something positive which will come out. Finally, we have to see what is the balance. Okay, how will the fleeing Chinese survive in USA as their industry generating income is still in mainland China? No, they're starting a new life there. They start a new life. They even drive buses and they do anything, because they have money to sustain. You see, the Chinese are smart guys. What they've done is, most of these people who are relocating to USA have sent their children there. The children have studied and got jobs there and they're stable. And now this chap with whatever money is gone has bought a house and all. He'll restart something there with through his children. Okay. Facts even in social media are based on primary research and not secondary sources, even if those are CCP controlled statistics or C. Yeah, these are primary research. I agree with you. What I'm getting out is not based on social media. I am getting out from official sources of China. So you have to take into cognizance what's happening. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, foreign policy and particularly defense does not play a major part of. Yeah, I agree with you. That's part of the problem. And people, yeah, I agree with you completely. Right. I don't want to, you know, it's, look, I have my own political leanings, but I cannot make it public. Okay, I have my political views. After all, I'm a citizen like any one of you. But if I get on to that mudslinging, then who'll tell you about what I'm saying? ये भी तो सोचो यार. फिर आपको कैसे पता चलेगा ये एनालिसिस जो भी मैं कर रहा हूँ हर आदमी इसके साथ? तभी तो मैं बोलता हूँ आके गन शॉट में सब्सक्राइब करो और हमारा व्यूअरशिप बढ़ाओ ताकि बहुत लोग देख सकते हैं. So that you understand things which otherwise no one will tell you. And on this, I'm very clear. Already, a lot of people who are coming on my channel say, "No, we don't want to go to that channel. We don't want to go to this channel. We enjoy talking with you. Please don't change the character of your channel so that we are free to come and talk with you." And that's how I'll take it. Now, slowly, Klaus has come. Klaus has said, "We'll give you all our videos. Please play it." So you'll now know what the think tanks are going to think. And within closed doors of Manekshaw Hall, जो भी बातचीत होता है, जो भी उनका इंटरेक्शन होता है, मैं आपके पास लेके आऊंगा ऑफिशियली. एंड आई एम आस्किंग अदर थिंक टैंक्स ऑल्सो. एक बार ये करेगा तो दूसरा भी आ जाएगा मेरे पास. एंड दीज डेज आई राइट ओनली फॉर थिंक टैंक्स. आई हैव रिटन फॉर सेंट जॉर्ज. I have written for USI. I've written for. I'm writing for Clause. I'm writing for IDSA. इनका जर्नल्स में लिख रहा हूँ. तो I'm asking, आपके जितने भी प्रोग्राम होते हैं, आप जो बातचीत करते हो, हमें दे दीजिए. हम अपना चैनल में आउट करेंगे. बट अगर मैं पॉलिटिक्स बात करूं तो वो सब नहीं कर सकता हूँ. आपको फिर वो हकीकत कैसे पता चलेगा? एंड अगर मैं पॉलिटिक्स वगैरह और थर्ड रेट बंदों को लेके आऊं इस चैनल के ऊपर, फिर ये जो अच्छे अच्छे लोग आके बात करते हैं वो कैसे कराऊंगा मैं? हंसी मजाक तो है नहीं, और मेरा उम्र ये भी नहीं है कि ये करना है वो करना है वो. और ये भी मैं बता रहा हूँ, जब मैं रिटायर आके यहाँ आया था, बहुत पार्टी आए थे मेरे पास कि सर हमारा पार्टी में आप शामिल हो जाओ। हमारा पार्टी एक ही पार्टी है, वो भारत माता की पार्टी है, बस। आप लोग उस भारत माता के बेटे हो या बच्चे हो, तो हम आपके साथ हैं, बस। बड़ा क्लियर हूं मैं। या रोहित, थैंक्स, दैट्स द वे आई लुक एट इट. If Modi as authoritarian was Manmohan Singh, not, yeah, that we don't get involved with this. We don't. I don't want to get involved with thing. I'm just giving you basic thing. Yeah. Is it, if possible, please publish transcript of multi-domain scenarios so as it a marvel with maybe 100 or some terms. I'm listening it to minute wise. Awesome episode. I think I'll redo that episode in the current context. Multi-domain operations. And I've written articles on multi-domain operations. They go to Ganashot, my website. Type in multi-domain operations and see. I'm not talking about the multi-domain operations against Pakistan. Uh, See, understand the basic concept of multi-domain operations. Incidentally, I've already spoken to General Narayanan, I've spoken to General Dushyant, or maybe one of the ambassadors I'll speak, and we'll have a multi-domain operations against China also. I'm going to do it. Just wait. Maybe next week sometime. As per SJ, Namo is one of the keenest listener dictators. Yeah, I've also heard this, that when you brief him, he doesn't ask you anything. He listens to you. Okay. Only when he doesn't get response from you, then he gives his own thing. Yeah. Yeah, I've enjoyed the flares as Diwali on many occasions as resident of high rise near. Oh, yeah, okay, Patardi Pata. Okay, fine. That's fine. I think we've come to the end of today's discussion. I don't see any more questions. So tomorrow we'll talk of. I'll ask General Hasnain if he's prepared to come. We'll talk of. He's put an article on India and China. I'll discuss it, or I'll talk about India-China Cold War, or I'll do a mix and match and talk. I'll speak to him. Till tomorrow, good evening and Jai Hind to all of you. 26th is coming. You chaps are going to vote. Many of you vote as per your head, not for your heart. Vote what is good for the country. If you feel a person is good for the country, vote for him. I'm not saying whom to vote, but vote. And vote as per what you think. Okay? That's more important. Okay? You vote as per your conviction, which is important. Your vote matters. Okay? I've voted. I've done. नाउ मैं फ्री उपदेश दे रहा हूँ. मैं कल के दिन इंडिगो में गया था यहाँ से दिल्ली और वापस एयर इंडिया में आया था फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू चेन्नई, और दोनों एयरलाइन में ये बता रहे हैं कि जाके ये हमारा इलेक्शन के पर्व में शामिल हो जाइए, ये अनाउंस होता है. तो मैं भी अपना कर रहा हूँ, वोट कीजिए जाके. अच्छी बात है, राइट. इम्पोर्टेंट. आई टुक माई 84-year-old मदर टू वोट. आई हाथ पकड़ के लेके उसको वोट डलवाया. Right. Lobsang sharing, free Tibet. Yes, Lobsang, 30th, I'm going to have a program on free Tibet. How to free Tibet. Right. So far, I've talked of this thing. Now I'll see what are the pathways to free Tibet. Tell all your people to join in. Tell all your people to join in and listen to what I'm going to say. Okay. Bye. See you. Good evening and Jai Hind to all of you.